Good morning to one and all who have connected with us today. Today, we have with us few people who have put India first, and it is only auspicious that we start Inspire India Youth Con to 2021 with them. Women in uniform have played a vital role in ensuring the security of the nation and empowering the women throughout. Today, we are going to take part in this panel discussion and hear about the splendid stories that our brave, interpret, ingenious, and indomitable women in uniform experience. So, I would like to introduce the panelists for today's discussion. Squadron Leader Paridhei Singh, retired. Squadron Leader Paridhei Singh, retired, is an AN-32 pilot and founder and president of Indian Federation for Adventure Sports and Racing. Captain D.S. Latha, retired. Captain D.S. Latha, retired, is a signal officer from the Indian Army's Corps of Signals. And not only has she conquered the battlefield, she has also conquered the corporate battlefield and is the country security officer of the AP security team. Commander Mahima Marin, retired. Commander Mahima Marin, retired, was an education officer in the Indian Navy. She has transformed boys and girls into officers of the Indian Navy, and she has taught them in the most premier institutions of our country, like the National Defense Academy and the Indian Naval Academy. It's truly a great honor to have all of you present with us today, ma'am. So, firstly, I would like to ask all of you to share your experiences and journey that you faced and that you experienced in the uniform. So, ma'am, I think we'll start with Squadron Leader Paridhei.
My journey and my experience in the Air Force has been very challenging, very adventurous, and full of learning. And we were the second course, so we got a lot of attention too. But it was so much fun to be walking shoulder to shoulder with men, to advance our skills in flying, to learn so much, and to break the shackles of the society in the way which they think that women can do this, women can't do that. The services gives us this opportunity to be really equal. They may have been sometimes when we have not been cleared for combatant roles or some other operational conditions, but we really got a chance to walk shoulder to shoulder with men, which was really thrilling. And my experience there has been the worth of gold in the services. I can say it was a lot of learning because I had to overcome my feeling that I'm a woman, I can't do this, or I can't achieve this much, or I can't be in a combatant role. I had to break all that thought process, and I had to get out of my shell and perform. So it's been a lot of learning, and it's changed me and transformed me into a beautiful human being that I am today.
Ma'am, truly a wonderful story, ma'am. And it's also true that the Indian Air Force has a recruitment motto of that Indian Air Force championing equality in the skies. And I truly think that you have lived up to that motto. Ma'am, now I'd like to go to Commander Mahima, ma'am. Ma'am, not only have you had a journey of excitement and opportunity in the Indian Navy, you would have also played a very vital role in the journey of many other officers. Would you be sharing your experience in the Navy as a education officer?
Hey, good morning, everyone. So, if you ask me, my journey in the armed forces, I should say it was never boring. It was challenging. Every day was new. You get up in the morning, you don't know what you're looking at. And there was not even a second where I regretted joining the services because that's what I always wanted to do in all through my life. Like I wanted to wear a uniform. So it was like completely exhilarating and completely challenging also. Paridhei ma'am said, you get to do anything and everything that you want to do, provided you want to do. So I've been lucky or I was privileged to serve in all the training academies of Indian Navy, like including the National Defense Academy and the Indian Naval Academy. And the best moment or the best experience is when you get posted to those places and some of the young officers would come to you and say, ma'am, you taught me, you trained me in the academy. And that is a compliment because, in all this extreme physical training and the tiring days, if a cadet actually remembered that you are the instructor. So that I take as a compliment and it is one of the best experiences. So I can tell with complete sincerity that those were the best days of my life. It was really, really interesting period of my life, the 13, 14 years that I served in the service.
Yes, ma'am. And as an NCC cadet myself, I can also assure you that we will never forget our instructors for good or for worse. Ma'am, and for now, I'd like to go on to Captain Latha, ma'am. Ma'am, you have had an experience with the Indian Army's Corps of Signals, one of the oldest corps in the Indian Army. How was your experience in the Corps, ma'am?
Hi everyone. Let me start with a disclaimer. Whatever I'm speaking today, it's purely my individual comments and my opinion. It has got nothing to do with the organization we have served in the past or we continue to serve now. So let me start with the disclaimer. And I think just from a time-wise perspective, since this is for women, the young ladies who are on the call, and of course the men also on the call, who are aspiring to start the career and they are in an institute where they are groomed from a technical perspective and they are going through their initial phase of, I'll say, becoming the workforce which India is looking forward to. So I'm sure all of you know that the Commission of Women in Army and of course the other three services started in 1992, right? And we have Squadron leader Paridhei, who was part of the initial batch, which is, I'll say that the silver lining in the history of the defense forces. So in the initial stage, 1992 onwards, it was called as a women's special entry scheme, right? It was not called as a short service commission or a permanent commission. It was called as a women's special entry scheme. And it was an experimental thing which was started in 1992. We have come a long way now. If I have to kind of quickly touch upon the timelines. So from 1992, it has taken almost 16 years for a woman to get a permanent commission. And the first commission came in 2008. Permanent commission came in 2008. And yes, Mahima was maybe one of the lucky one because Education Corps was one which got the permanent commission very early, right? And of course, the Advocate General branch, that is the, I'll say, the vertical and core, which looks after the legalities within the army. They were the one who got the permanent commission in 2008. And as we speak now, it's hardly a couple of months, that is 2020, that the other branches of the army, where the women have been inducted in 1992 and continues to be inducted, got the permanent commission, right? So what we have to understand is that the women in army, women in services per se, if we have to kind of have a broader umbrella, is still undergoing a lot of, I'll say, the journey of being figuring it out how it best fits for the people who are joining and for the nation per se, right? So this is not something which has happened overnight. It has taken almost, as we speak now, almost 2 decades to come to a stage where we are now. If I have to talk from an experience perspective, right? I come from a background of pure science, right? And many of you are also now technically getting qualified. Army is one place where it teaches you everything. I was from a pure science background, but because of my physics and chemistry in my degree, I was allocated signals. That is pure telecom, right? And it was not easy for a person to come from a pure science background to get into a technical arm like telecommunication. And all of us know that telecommunication has been undergoing so much of a technology change. But this code not only provided with the basic discipline, the basic, I'll say, the environment to work, it provided a technical know-how of how the complete security of the nation, every core can play a critical role. Right? So that's been, I'll say, apart from what Mahima and Commander Paridhei mentioned, it gives us the technical know-how, right? Which maybe if I have continued in my civil background, I may not have come through, except for being an end user of the telecommunication services, I may not have come through or learned about it. The things like cipher, right, which is a very common word nowadays. We talk about all the coding and how the data has to be protected. All of this is something which I saw 2 decades back in my career in signals. Right, that is something all a buzzword nowadays. Data protection, data privacy, all that is a buzzword now. But this is something which Army was doing 2 decades back as well. So as far as my journey in, I'll say in army is concerned, I'll say it has chiseled a person. Right, when we get into academy, we are a very raw rock. If I can draw a parallel, the academy, the army, it chisels the person out of this, I'll say, raw rock and make you a individual, make you a good citizen of the country. And of course, it gives you a lot of responsibility wherein you are responsible, you are contributing directly towards the security of the country. And all of us can relate to it. If we don't have a secure environment, right, nothing can prosper in the country, nothing can prosper in any city per se. So that's a kind of responsibility it has bestowed on people, and for that they prepare. So it's a holistic, I'll say, life-changing experience in the armed forces.
Yes, truly inspiring journey from you, ma'am, and you have definitely learned a lot. Ma'am, I'd like this to ask a question to Squadron Leader Paridhei Singh. Ma'am, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, one of my favorite heroes, had once given a quote that out of all the kids he has met across the country, there is not a single one who hasn't dreamt of flying. And as a pilot, you would have very well experienced flying loads. And I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure everyone on this call would like to know, how was your flying experience?
Now, that is something which is very exhilarating. The flying in the Indian Air Force, the kind of flying that we do is not available in civil aviation. And it was very thrilling to do that kind of flying, to do operational flying, to do formations, to do dropping. We would do forward area and we would fly in the hills, which I don't think any civil aviation aircraft flies in the hills, so close to the hills. We would do forward area drops, short field takeoff and landings. We would do para drop, and we would do bombing, whatever is possible in a transport aircraft in the military. If we are able to do that, it was very thrilling. So the flying experience in the Air Force is very exhilarating, and that will never that experience can never come outside of Air Force. So that we are very lucky that we got, and the kind of training, flying training that we have is one of the best in the world. So Indian Air Force trains one of the best. One is the place where one of the best pilots in the world are trained. Best pilots in the world are trained. So our training system was very accurate, very perfect. So it has been. I've been very lucky that we got this experience of flying in the Air Force.
Yes, I'm sure we will all love to fly, and hopefully, we'll love to fly for the Indian Air Force in service of our nation one day. Ma'am, in your journeys, a lot of you have given us the most incredible experiences. Most of us can only imagine having some of those experiences in life. But hopefully, if we work hard enough, we will definitely be able to experience them one again. We'll be able to experience them ourselves. But ma'am, I have a question. Out of this journey and these experiences, what were the skills you learned, and how are those skills helping you in your day-to-day life? I'd like to. I think Captain Latha, ma'am, you can answer this first.
Thank you. See, when we talk about skills, right? If we look at the broad skills, which I'll say any individual and especially youth, the audience for whom we are here today, right? What are a couple of things they need to embrace? If I have to list out there, uh, forget about the army, right? I'll come to that a little later. When we talk about skills, I'm sure all of you would have heard numerous stories which keeps floating on WhatsApp and some other media platform that a person is extremely good, right? IIT pass out, very very rewarding career in the say corporate technology geek and all of that. But when some situation which is adverse, which is not going the way they will like to, they end up taking very, very extreme steps, right? That is something which I'm sure all of you would have heard about it. So I'll say that army is one place which not only teaches you skills, right, which is very important, and I think the message I would like to give to the complete youth who is there in the call, that it not only gives you a exposure to a cutting edge technology, right? When we talk about say Air Force, the best of the aircrafts, best of fighter aircrafts, and best of technology is there with Air Force. When we talk about Navy, the best of cutting edge technology is there in form of submarine ships and all. When it comes to Army, it's a cutting edge technology which either, if I speak about signals, they have it, or some of the armory which the Indian Army uses. That is something is given, but what it gives you is that this, from a skill perspective, adaptability, right? Today I may be posted let me take my example. When I got commissioned in army, I was posted in a command, right? There I had a very static job of managing the exchange, typical setup which you will have, people can from telecom background, electronics background can imagine. It was a pure telecom setup, right, to support the formation we were positioned at, right? The next posting was as an instructor, right? So just right from being in a technology, I'll say infrastructure position, I was put as an instructor in a academy where we were expected to train the men to handle this equipment, right? And after second posting, because of the in 2000 2000, we had this op parakram, if some of you may remember it, right? We had an attack on the parliament, and the Indian army was mobilized as a response to that complete security threat to India. So I was posted from the, I'd say, from a secure environment of a training institute to a strike formation, and we were deployed in the forward areas. So adaptability is one, I'll say, it teaches you from the day you step into academy, right? Today you are doing X kind of a training, tomorrow you are expected to do another set of training. One day you are expected to study the, I'll say, history, other day you are expected to learn about the weapon, right? So adaptability is one which I'll say uh, it tops my list in terms of skills which the army teaches. Next, of course, I will say is perseverance, right? Of course, there are whole list of things, but I will cover these two, and I'll definitely want Mahima and Commander Paridhei to pick up the other aspects of which they relate to. So perseverance is one thing which I'll say is so crucial in today's challenging world. When I say perseverance, let me again pick up a example of the training academy, right? From morning time, if I have to put some 5 o'clock, in some days till night, midnight, you are, I'll say, thoroughly physically and mentally rogered, if I can use that word, right? From training in the morning to some of the regular studies which you have to do, and in the evening or in sometime mid of the night, some of unexpected, I'll say, sessions which the instructors decides at the nick of the time to enforce on you. If you give up that time, right, there is no other way but exit door out of the academy, right? So perseverance is one thing which I'll say from the time you step into the academy is something which you get imbibed in. And that perseverance, I can say, is that in my current uh, role in the corporate security world is something comes so handy to me, because security is one job wherein a day can be a very, very routine day. For months together, nothing will happen. But it just takes 1 second for a major issue to happen, right? So if we put our guard down, right, if we are not perseverant, we cannot succeed in my current role. And I'm sure that is true for all of the youth here. You have 4 years of technical journey which you people have to go through, and knowing and having interacted with a couple of people, including Nishant, I know that is also very, very demanding. So perseverance is something I'll say is another skill I would like to share with the team here. So for me, I'll say adaptability and perseverance is something which, in addition to a lot more, which I'm sure my other panelists will speak about, are on top of my agenda.
Yes. Commander Mahima, ma'am, not only would you have gained skills, you would have also been responsible for imparting skills. So, what do you think are the skills that the armed forces impart? The most important skills, ma'am?
Resilience would top my list because, like Captain Latha said, usually what happens is when the going gets tough, like, whenever there is an obstacle or any issue that you face in your life, usually people tend to give up. But in armed forces, you do not have the option to give up. From the first day you join the services, you are trained or molded to say, to not to say no. Or, if a job is given to you or if you're told to do something, you never say no. Even if you do not know, you find out a way to it. The answer is usually, I'll find out. So when you are saying I will find out every day at least 100 times or maybe 10 times, it gets into your head that giving up is not an option. If you have a problem, it's for you to find a solution also. So this resilience, the never give up attitude and find a solution and keep going ahead is one of the most attributable skill I can say. Like I did skydiving when I was in the services. So let me tell you, I was petrified of heights. Okay, like and then being a naval officer, we had to do a 5 meter jump also to the swimming pool for passing your test. And I have this height issues, but that is not an option. Like you have decided you do something, and there's a skydiving, you need to get wings, so you have to maybe do a 5 jumps. So either you can just give up and say I'm scared of heights. I just want to go back home. But that's not an option. What you do is you build up the courage, or you motivate your own self and find a way to overcome that fear or overcome that the pulling back, and you take the step forward. So resilience tops my list, and the second is the spirit of adventure. Like I said, life was never monotonous there. It's always, you have something to look forward to. You want to do something, like when you're training the cadets, like it is not only the academic training I was doing, I was also doing the leadership training, the mentoring. I was counselor and advisor for the cadets. So it is the overall grooming of the cadets. So you groom and you mentor the cadets to become completely resilient and what you say, strong human beings and a good person and a good officer and a gentleman or a lady of the armed forces. So yeah, a spirit of adventure and resilience, I can say, which in fact helps me right now also. Like I run my own business now. So there are 100 times, like you want to give up, but then it's like, no, no, it's your business. It's your, you started it. So you have to move forward. There will be obstacles, but you find a way to move ahead, like by your own work and your teamwork. Like you always have a team with you, and it's not only your success, it is a complete team success. So yes, this is I can say as a few skills or a few good things that I have got from the armed forces.
Okay, ma'am. Squadron leader Paridhei, ma'am. Pilots are often considered to be the most skillful job in the armed forces, ma'am. So, what do you think are the skills you gain?
First thing is courage and bravery, and to get out of the shackle of thinking that I am a woman, I am a lady. So I started thinking like I'm a human being, I'm a professional, I'm a pilot. That thought of that I'm a woman got out of my mind. And all the time while I was in the cockpit and outside of the cockpit, I
Okay.
continuously thought that this is my drawbacks, or these are things I have to work on, this is how I have to go forward, and this is how I will be forward going forward. So till date in my life I always think that whatever problems, difficulties I have got trained now to think as a person, as a human being, not just because I'm a woman this is happening, or I'm a woman these are the problems. No, I've got used to it. These are my strong points, these are my follies, this is how I will improve. So first thing I learned to be was to be a professional, not a woman, not a lady. Second thing that I would consider was team spirit and camaraderie. A team, the way they teach us in the services, the way we give up so much for our team, and the task is more important than any individual, and the team is more important than any individual. That learning which I have got till date, it helps me and to build camaraderie with the people that I am around with, and to work as a team. That is one thing which was worth learning from the Air Force. One more thing was discipline of mind and body, and the discipline that we learned from there till date, I have adapted it in my life. That how disciplined can you get in your physical routine, in your mental routine, how to discipline your mind to think properly, to have the positive thoughts, how to think, how to train your body to be disciplined. So the mind and body discipline I learned from the Air Force, and the courage and bravery that we learn in the Air Force stays with us today also, because there are so many things which happen in our lives. We have children, then we feel now I've got so many drawbacks. I'm unable to do this. My routine has changed. I'm not that fit. So many kind of thoughts come in our mind. We have to overcome those thoughts and achieve our goals and adapt to life, so that we know that as a person, if you want to achieve success, what do you need to get. So these are the things which I learned from the Air Force, which of course my other panelists have also said a few. These are things which I would like to point out.
So, Dishant, can I come?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Dishant, one thing which, of course, we keep interacting with a lot of, I'll say, students, a lot of youngsters. One message I definitely want to give through this forum is that everyone wants to become a leader. Everyone aspires to be at the top of the ladder, right? Everyone says that, okay, I want to be a best leader. I want to be leading the men, people, or maybe in your college, I want to lead my team, right? But one thing which has to be first practiced, especially at the time and age you youth are, is that you have to be a good follower as well. Right? If you are not a good follower, you cannot become a good leader. Right? That doesn't mean that I'm not saying that, okay, your leader is saying you sit, you sit. He says you stand, you stand. That's not the kind of the message I'm trying to give. As a team, you have discussed about something, you have decided on something, then person have to be a very, very good follower, right? And that's something which I see the kind of the I'll say uh, the current youth lack that patience. Everyone wants to say, okay, fine, I want to lead, I want to be the project leader, team leader, or I want to be the leader of so many other avenues which come their way. But at this age, people should also practice and make sure that they are good followers. If you have a good follower, I'll say the leader will also be, the job is half done for the leader. But if he doesn't have a team which does not follow him, excellent leader, excellent entrepreneur cannot also do anything, right? So that is one, I'll say, behavior or the skill which people should imbibe in them, saying that I have to learn to be a good follower as well, which in army I'll say has been taught from the day you enter the gates of the academy, right? If they say you have to move in the squad of 4 people, there's no choice. You have to move in the group of 4 people the moment you step out of your barrack or classroom, wherever you are. There's absolutely no choice, right? So that is one, I'll say, very, very relevant, which people should always bear in mind. Back to you, Nishak.
Yes. Ma'am, Squadron Leader Paridhei, ma'am, can you share with us one unforgettable story during your service tenure, ma'am?
Of course, there are many, but one which stays with me always is I'm also a trained skydiver, and I was in the skydiving team. What happened was we all got into the helicopter to go for a jump, and by chance, the jump master, he misunderstood or he misinterpreted the winds, and because he misinterpreted the winds, the drop was in a wrong position. So we as skydivers didn't realize that it was in a wrong position. We just got out of the aircraft. Later on, we realized that the DZ was going far away and we were not going to reach it, and the drop zone. And we were in some hangars and some road of the technical area. And I realized that I'm not going to make it. And I was so scared and I was so worried. All my training came down that day, and I was like, I'm not going to make to the DZ. And I was looking for a empty patch where I could land, and I couldn't go to the empty patch, the hangar area, the area in front of the hangar apron also. So I was like, where will I go? And then I aimed for a thin road. Now from far above, the road was looking really thin. I was thinking I'm not going to be able to make the road. And then I started deciding which tree to go for, and I was trying to this thing in my mind that if I go for the khajur ka tree, I will end up very high and will be hanging in the air. So might as well go for a mango tree, which will get me down. So these were the things going on in my mind. And as decided, I went and I turned my parachute a little bit and went towards the mango tree and hung in the air in the mango tree. And I was just engaged at that time. So my husband, to be my fiance, came running in the car to get me from that hangar tree. It was really a near miss that day. And I prayed to God, God, I'll never do any adventure. Save me today, save me today. But for sure, after I got down, again, I went for another jump. So it was one experience that I wanted to share with everyone.
Nishant, you're speaking in mute, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Apologies from my end. Ma'am, Commander Mahima, ma'am, can you share another one more unforgettable story from your service?
There are many. Like you are in the services where you are taught or you're trained to be adventurous. So there are many stories that I can tell. But one I would suggest, I would like to mention here is I got an opportunity to go for a 5-day sailing from Kochi to Lakshadweep. So it was in a small yacht, a sailing yacht. It was called as the INSV Samir. So we were 5 of us, 5 officers. The crew was 5, and we had one captain, and it was I think 3 men and 2 women. So it was I have done enterprise sailing, the smaller sailboats, but this is a bigger sailboat. But yeah, when you consider it to a ship, it's a smaller one. So it was my first experience. So, and I never thought that I would be seasick because I'm like this person. If you ask me to do something, I would just jump and go and do it. So I never thought I would be seasick. But the first day was okay, and as we went deep into the sea started becoming rough, and my God, I was completely seasick. I know, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm throwing up all the time. And then again, you go and sail. You can't just give up, right? So it is like either you're falling and you're throwing up, and then again you're on the boat, and it's a 5 day trip. So you have to be in the boat for 5 days. And we have these watches, like morning watch, middle watch, night watch, etc. So you are told you are in charge of your ship during that time. So everyone did their watches, like we have five, so it is divided into five, in five schedules you do. So I got this middle watch like 12 o'clock in the midnight, and the captain said, "My man, just sleeping here only. The ship is in your, or the boat is in your charge, and you have to ensure that we reach. Just look straight. There is this particular star over there. Just look at the star and ensure that the boat is moving towards that star." I said, "Okay, sir, I'll do it." And I had just completed a full day of seasickness and my vomiting the whole day. So it's super tired, but you never say, "I'll not do it." I said, "Okay, sir, I'll do it." It was like 3 hour watch. So I started this, and I was like, praying that the weather is calm and everything, and the rest everyone is sleeping. And all of a sudden, I was, you go to that, like you're looking at the stars, and all of a sudden I hear a splashing sound. And I looked to my starboard, and I saw a dolphin cruising by my side, and I was like, wow, it's really good. And then I was like, on my starboard and port, there is like at least six of them, six dolphins were cruising alongside, and it was like mesmerizing and fully starlit light and the luminescence. You look at the sea, it is like if you've seen the Life of Pi movie, you can relate to all this. And it was a beautiful experience. And the next day you see flying fish also, like you're again doing this, and the fish, there are a lot of fish flying in front of you, it's coming inside your boat, everything. That is a beautiful experience which I'll never forget.
Now, it's truly so beautiful to hear. I can only imagine how much more beautiful it would have been to experience. So, ma'am, Captain Latha, ma'am, any unforgettable story from your end, ma'am?
No, absolutely. After hearing Paridhei and Mahima, I definitely cannot, I don't have any such experience from the air or from the sea, but a very real life kind of experience, which there are many, as my co-panelist mentioned. But one thing which I think is important for the audience here, right? The young ladies, the women who are looking to take that step in their career to choose their career, and they definitely should look at choosing the uniform services, one of their topmost on the list. I'll relate to an instant when you get commissioned, right? After your academy, you are posted in a unit. And I'm sure all the youth can relate to it, which is nowadays not a legal thing to do, ragging, right? So when a new officer is posted to a unit, the senior subalterns and some of them, they do some kind of, maybe not a right word to use, but they, to build that camaraderie, to build that know-how of the person, they plan a lot of pranks on the day one you land in a battalion or a unit, in my case, the single regiment. Of course, there were a series of things they had started right from the point I landed up in the railway station of the place I was posted to, right from a baggage being stolen and my I-card being taken away on some pretext. All that prank happened, but yes, we were mentally prepared and we were expecting this to happen, so it was all okay. After, I'll say, 4 to 5 hours of all that thing, right from the railway station, then you coming to the battalion, they're asking for the I-card. I-card is gone because they have planted it and they have taken away the I-card. They said, okay, fine, you don't have I-card and you have landed up in a regiment, so you have to be put behind the bars and all that. So all that was pretty okay because we were expecting this. We were trained for it. And after that 4 5 hours of thing, then they said, okay, fine, your I card is found, your luggage is found. They said, okay, you're a young officer, you should be knowing the men under you, the teams which will be working through you. And they took me to the barrack, and they said, the barrack where our men were there. It was a barrack which had about 15 20 beds, right? And in one corner, they gave me the bed. They said, this is where you will stay, right? And as a typical, I'll say, youngster, I had no inhibition, right? We were kind of mentally tuned. Okay, fine, wherever you are put, you get adapted. But it was funny to see how the men were uncomfortable, right? They have put a lady in their barrack, and their, I'll say, the way of movement, the way they were moving in the barrack, that changed completely. People would have expected that I will become very frustrated. I'll say, my God, where I have been put. I was pretty cool. I had no, say, okay, you have to be there. I said, fine. But the people around you become so cautious. And then, of course, within a half an hour, 1 hour, the senior subaltern came and they said, okay, fine, fine. This is fine. We will like to put you back to the place where which has been, I'll say, earmarked for you. And then they moved me. So till date, I remember that reactions of the people around me. They become so cautious in terms of having a person among them which they didn't expect. And that was something I'll want to leave the message with the young ladies here. Don't carry inhibitions, right? You have to adapt. You have to be open to it. Yes, I'm sure all of us understand, all of you understand that there are certain lines which people have to draw, but otherwise, remove that lady, woman kind of attack. And I think Commander Paridhei mentioned it very well, that treat yourself as a person, right? It's not she or he. It's that you are a person. It's just that you happen to be a woman or the other person has to be a man, right? But take that prefix and suffix away from you, and then you will see the potential in you coming out. Back to you, Rishak.
Yes, ma'am. Captain Latha, ma'am, how was your first day before academy, and what were your thoughts on the first day?
In fact, Nishank, I was thinking about it when we had this conversation and this complete panel discussion was being planned. To be very frank, it's almost close to 25 years now. So I definitely don't recollect if I had goosebumps in me or I was scared. I definitely don't remember any of such things. I think I was pretty cool about it. Like since before joining academy, I've stayed in a hostel. I've stayed practically almost all states of India, right? My father was in a transferable job. So I have traveled right from Jammu Kashmir to the southern tip of India to the eastern borders to the western. So I was pretty, I'll say, not having any apprehensions or any concerns. I don't definitely recollect any of such anxieties I was going through. But definitely, I remember that because of some confusion on the joining date, because the joining date said you have to report before some date was given. So we were not knowing exactly that's 1 day before or 2 day before or 1 week before. So I landed up 3 days before the actual joining day, and I was the only one in the barrack. And since I was the only one in the barrack till the other people started to trickle in, I remember that it was really very strange experience that you are alone in a barrack which is expected to accommodate some 50 people. So that definitely, I remember that being in the barrack alone for, I think, just a night, and then of course people started to trickle, and then the whole the course got gathered and everything started. So I definitely don't recollect any such anxieties. But yes, the experience of landing in academy and staying in the barrack alone was something very different. But that's something stays with me right now.
Ma'am, Squadron Leader Paridhei, ma'am, how was your first day in academy?
Oh, I was very excited and very thrilled. And I was thinking I'll get to fly and I'll get to be in uniform. And we are not from a defense background, so I had no idea whatsoever what's going to happen inside. So I was just looking forward to being in uniform, flying the aircraft, and trying to prove myself. So there was a lot of excitement in me and a lot of enthusiasm to prove myself that. Because we are second course, there was so much talk about us, and there was so much to prove. So in our minds, in my mind was going on that I have to prove myself, and I have to perform well. These were the things in my mind. So I think excitement was the major thing in my mind.
Commander Mahima, ma'am.
Like I'm also a first generation officer, so I think the entire family was excited. Like to be frank, around 5 to 6 people came to drop me to the academy. We came in a small omni that day, all of us together. My dad, mom, my brother. Like I'm from a small village in Kerala. So people were super duper excited. Okay, my daughter is joining the armed forces. And for me, like you have seen a lot of movies, right? Where you're running, you're crawling, you're doing training. I was looking forward to all of that. It was like, and I was in the scouts and guides, and I'm a Rashtrapati guide. So I've done a lot of camps and everything, and I loved every day of my, all these adventure days. So, this academy also, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have an adventurous life. There'll be training, there'll be running, there'll be rock climbing, you'll be jumping from here and there. So it was basically, yes, I was really looking forward to it, and I was not scared or anything, but it was like a new chapter in my life, something which I always wanted. I always wanted to don a uniform. So it didn't matter olive green or whites or the blues, but I was like, yeah, I want to wear a uniform. And I was waiting for the first day where we will get the uniform, and you'll start your training. So yes, I was really looking forward to it.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, Squadron Leader Paridhei, ma'am. Recently, permanent commission has been approved for women, and women are going to be taking on combat roles. And uh, we have a first, I think, a female three-star general in Lieutenant General Madhuri Kanetkar. What do you think is the future of women in the armed forces? And how soon can we expect a female chief of staff?
The future of women is bright in the armed forces, and my only thing to women would be that you have to work towards it. You can't expect that just because you're women you will be handed over something. So that should not be there. And the being a chief of staff is not far away. Soon it will happen, but for that you need to have done so many operational roles. You have to be cleared so many operational roles. For that you have to prove yourself. You have to get cleared. You have to keep your profession as your aim and your goal. Keep it as your first choice and work towards it. If you waver, and if you think that just because of women, and then you keep fighting for your rights, but whatever your responsibilities are there you're not doing, that won't make a good impact. So I feel women also have to work hard and prove themselves, and also get cleared for the operational roles that are required in the defense forces to be able to reach the top. So they have to keep focus and work hard. And I'm thinking that the way the things are going, soon women will be getting equal opportunity even for the higher ranks.
Yes. Commander Mahima, ma'am, what do you think is the future of women in the Navy, especially since the last Navy Day, there was an announcement that from now, women will be a part of warships in patrol across the Indian Ocean region.
The future of women, like in any place, like in the services or anywhere, like I always think that the uniform doesn't have a gender, like or the ranks do not have a gender. Like when I say Commander Mahima, it doesn't say that Commander Mahima, female or a male. So it's basically everyone, anyone can do anything if they really want to do it. So the future also, like given the opportunity, so I have to say, given the opportunity, everyone can become what they want to. And like I have been lucky, or I've had the privilege of serving with many exceptional women in uniform, who are in fact, I can say with a small example, like when we had camps and cross country, when there were so many men and young cadets were giving up. So I've had like including me and my coach mates, we used to run ahead of the men and the finish of the camps also. So it is nothing like a woman cannot do anything. It is basically, if the permanent commission, yeah, recently Supreme Court has given order for permanent commission. So the permanent commission comes with a lot of responsibility. Like when you are given a president's commission, which means you're asked to do something where you cannot say that I cannot do something. It is basically anything which is under your control, you have to do it. So if you're willing to perform, if you're willing to compete with yourself, like you have to be a better human being or a better person every day. Like you may not be able to run as fast as a young boy can run, but you can train yourself. You can run harder. You can work out harder. You can do the physical activities harder. And it is not only about maybe inclusivity and diversity. It is basically about the equitable opportunities. Like some may be good at training. Some may be good at some other activities. So it is basically you get the equitable opportunities and you move forward. And about getting a senior rank or the 4-star in a 4-star rank of a woman, it's like again I said, it is the harder you work and we as a people accept or broaden our mindset about like the diversity and the equal opportunities. I think the sooner we would see 4-star women officers also. Back to you, Nishank.
Yes, ma'am, that was truly a great story, ma'am. And also, I think it also fits with the Indian Navy's motto and ocean of opportunities. And so, ma'am, Captain Latha, ma'am, what do you think is the future of women in the Indian Army? And also, just today we had the news that the first batch of female soldiers had just passed out, and they are an exceptional batch as per that as per the review given to them.
Sure. So, Nishant, I think Squadron Leader Paridhei and Commander Mahima spoke about it, right? Its future is bright. It's about skill. It is about the capability. It's about the knowledge, being able to lead and carry the responsibility, right? But let me draw a parallel to the engineering college. Just think about you can yourself think about 2 to 3 decades back, how many women were there in engineering colleges, right? I think you could have counted on fingers. If it's a batch of say 300 400 in engineering college, there will be hardly about 10 15. I really don't know the statistics, but knowing generally, right, the women in engineering college would have been very very handful. I'm not talking about 5 years 10 years, I'm talking about 20 30 years back. But what do we see today? I know the statistics, especially in some of the branches, the women outnumber the boys. The girls outnumber the boys in some of the verticals within the engineering field. We have women who are the HODs, women who are the principals of the technical colleges. I think nobody even thinks about it now. Can women be a HOD or a principal of a technical college? I don't think that's any more a question. So all my take on this complete thing is that a journey has just begun, right? It's about 2 decades old journey. We are talking about institutes which had decades of, I'll say, hundreds of years of history, and we have seen a day where women have no more. The question doesn't even arise. That thought process is not there. Can women do or can't women do or those kind of a thing. If we draw a parallel to the CEOs leading the multinationals, how many were there in the past, except for the people who had the family, I'll say, business where they had the opportunity. But people coming from, say, the basic career and leading the corporations, there were hardly any. But what we see now, we have women leading the Fortune 500 companies. So all I can say, and adding on to what my co-panelists mentioned, right, journey has begun, and as you rightly mentioned, when we talk about the women being at the top of the hill, right, the ecosystem has to be there. I know I've heard a lot of conversations, okay, the men are not ready to accept a woman as a leader. And there's no hesitation in saying that people do have that kind of a mindset, right? I can change myself. I cannot change the person in front of me. But if and when the ecosystem is ready, which I'll say all the right, I'll say the actions have been taken by the organization with the intervention of the government and of course the court and all of that, that ecosystem is getting created. And we have already seen, as you rightly mentioned, we have Lieutenant General Madhuri, who is already a general, and of course they have been in the past also in the medical corps and in the nursing corps. People have reached very high ranks because their journey had started pretty back and dates back to as old as the army is, and that's where you see those people at the top of the hill. So the women in services in general, right, is something fairly new. It's a journey, which is a beautiful journey. Opportunities are there. I'll definitely the women, the girls who are here on the call today, for whom we have actually come together. The whole reason I accepted this is definitely that even if I can inspire one person who was sitting on a fence saying that should I go or shouldn't I go, if I'm able to give that impetus to that person, okay, this is an opportunity I must try. For whatever reason, she had some doubt in her mind or she was sitting on a fence. If I can even inspire one person, I'll say it's the effort worth spent. So ecosystem is getting created and day is not very far, but yes, we have to, not we, when I say we as a co-panelist here, but every girl who is aspiring, she has to become better version of herself every day. It is not easy. That much I can definitely tell you. It is not easy. It's a battle you have to fight with yourself because you have competing priorities. Not when I say priorities, I'm not talking about family commitments. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. You have to complete your own, I'll say, physiological body, right? Men and women are built differently. There's no doubt about it. So you have to become a better version of yourself every day. You have to fight your own inhibitions, some of the limitations. But yes, if you're perseverant, if you are adaptable, I definitely don't see any reason why we will not have the women heading some of the courts or maybe at the absolute helm of the services in the coming days.
Truly, ma'am, I'm pretty sure that you would have inspired a lot of people today, a lot of young girls also today. We will be now opening it up to audience questions. Please send us your questions through comments in both YouTube or Facebook, in whichever platform you're viewing. We already have a few questions. I'll be reading those out to the panelists. So the first question that we have, ma'am, is from SVD. Ma'am, what do you think about tour of duty and its impact on the youth? I think Captain Latha, ma'am, since tour of duty is open for the army, I think you'll be best to answer this one.
See, army has so many programs, right? You would have seen NCC is one such program, which all the I'll say the all arms of services have good, I'll say, presence across various institutions and all of that, right? It's from a when we talk about that in the Indian context, right? When we talk about people getting into army, right? They take the cream of it, and uh, the kind of population we have, that's the right thing to do. But I really don't know how much and in what form and shape it will be available in the coming days. So we'll have to watch this space, and as and when this is made available, I'm sure people must use it.
So, ma'am, we have a question from Rishabh. Ma'am, any military technology or custom that surprised you? I think all of you can answer that, ma'am. I think we'll start with Squadron Leader Paridhei. Any military technology or custom that surprised you?
Nothing much surprised me. I just took it with the stride, took it in the stride, and we just learned what has to be done. So there was no custom which surprised me, like uh, as in why this is happening, and what we just said, okay, this is what's happening, this is what we have to do, and this is how we have to go ahead and do it. So even with technology or with customs, we were pretty much open to whatever was happening, and willing to learn and understand what's happening and follow it. So I was not too surprised by anything.
Ma'am, Commander Mahima, ma'am.
Yeah, when we join the services from the first day onwards, you're trained with everyone. Like there are boys and girls and everyone. So there is as such like I will not say any custom or anything, but it's like once in the middle of the night and or sometimes at your barrack you will get a knock, or the bells will ring and say okay, everybody out. So you'd be sleeping and early morning you have to get up for your parade and stuff. First day this happened, we were not sure about the night. You cannot say training. It is basically you have something called as patti parade and stuff. So in the middle of the night, you'll have senior cadets coming and making you do patti parade. Basically, you have to change your. You'll be given 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. Go and get into this particular rig. Like you have maybe has 11, 12 uniforms. Okay, so and we are given all the uniforms when you join the services. So you're told 30 seconds, go change into this and come. And then anybody who comes later, it is always one for all and all for one. It doesn't matter that you come and you are changed into the proper uniform, but rest is not done. Then yeah, you get your punishment. Rolling on the tarred road, or standing on the hands, and like it was all fun. Actually, it was really interesting. So I'll not say I was surprised or anything, but yeah, it's some sort of a training custom, you can say. It was quite interesting.
Okay, so let me pick up and add on to what my panelist mentioned. Technology, I think I covered in my previous conversation as well. You name of a technology, you will find it in the services, right? People think that the services have outdated technology, right? There may be some equipment which are outdated, right? That's something end of the life cycle. That's a continuous activity which the organization takes. But you name of a technology, you will find in army. So if somebody is thinking that I don't want to join the forces because I'll have to work with obsolete technology or end of the life equipment, no. The latest of technology is what you can get to work on, right? So that's on a technology piece. So I was not surprised when I joined. We had something like, if I can pick up from my single days, which I had served for 5 years in my initial service, right? We had something called the mobile communication, what we talk about now, right? Which is a very, people take it for granted. I'm talking about 25 years back, right? Of course, we didn't had a mobile device per se, but the technology was there in our, right? I could make a call sitting in one place to any part of the army establishment using the technology. The back end was complete mobile technology. Front end, of course, it was a hardwired phone, but that is something I'll say, something for the people to consider. If you want to work on a cutting edge technology, I'll say services is maybe at the top of the list, right? Because investments are so huge, and it's a matter of country's security. From a customs, I'll say I'm not surprised, but all I can say is that it teaches you a lot of good things, right from how to wear a uniform, the right way of wearing a uniform, right? It's not that I just wear a trouser and the shirt and wear the cap and I just run away. No, for everything there is a method. How do I wear my cap? How do I put my stars? We all talk about stars, right? When we say uniform, the shining brass on the shoulder is something everyone is proud of, and that's something which people get attracted to. How how those stars have to be worn is also something which is being taught. And there's, as I said, for everything there's a way it has to be worn or displayed and all of that. So I'll say that those who are new to the uniform services or have never had exposure, they will definitely find it interesting. I'll not say they will be surprised, but they will definitely find it interesting. Right from I spoke about uniform, and I think briefly Mahima mentioned about the living barrack. How do you place your towel, right? Or how do you place your even the socks, which people generally, if I relate to the civil life I'm leading now, the moment we come, we just take it out and throw it in the entrance of the house, right? But there, you have to keep even the socks in a place. When you're leaving the barrack, you have to put everything in order. If it is not, then again, as discipline goes, you may be reprimanded or all that thing. So they are very, very good customs. They are life lessons, right? If I have to draw a parallel to the corporate world, you will find all those fancy, I'll say, books and management theories and management books for self-improvement. I can say is that you pick up any such book, any such theory which are floating around, and you can draw a parallel to customs which are followed in services. Whether it's a 5S or all that things which Toyota and some of the other leading corporations promulgate, which I'm sure you as students must be hearing and learning about it. You can draw a parallel to the customs in all. So yes, they are very unique. I'll say I'm not surprised, but they are life lessons which each of these processes or the customs teaches us.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have another question from Nakshatra. When you retired from service, how did the process feel? I think we'll start with the most recent, ma'am. Commander Mahima, ma'am. How did you feel when you retired?
It was like I was hoping till the last moment that the order for permanent commission would come, but it did not. So retirement, it's like you never feel that once you don a uniform and once you're an officer, you're always an officer. So it doesn't matter you're wearing it or you're not wearing it. The retirement really doesn't sink into you. It is like you still live in the same world, like you have the same friends. And the retirement day, of course, it was, like I said, it was nostalgic, and everyone, you have something called as she's a jolly good fellow, and everybody was lifting me and throwing up in the air, and it is an unforgettable experience. Like I said, every last moment was hoping, like there's an opportunity not to retire. Yeah. So yes, that's what I felt.
Let me add here. See, as Mahima mentioned, once you've worn a uniform, it always stays with you. There's no second thought about it. I think it's almost close to 17 years that I have come out of the services, but you do miss, there's no doubt about it. But yes, do you want to live in the same world or continue with your journey and build a second career? That's a choice you have to make. But from I'll say nostalgia, feeling, remembrance, memories, you have loads of them, and we continue to cherish that. But yes, it's something which people will miss till the end of their life. There's no second thought, because not only me, when I speak to a lot of my other course some who are still continuing to be in service, some who have left, the feeling is, yes, we miss that competitive, we miss that uniform, we miss that lifestyle, right? Because army is not a job, army is a way of life. In the morning, you have to get up and go for a run, you like it or not. uh, and nowadays, again, people think people are coaching and I don't know, provocating all of that. Okay, you need to have a balanced life. You have to eat a balanced diet. But there in army, it is given, right? You are given a ration. You have to consume it. So it's something I'll say that uh, something people can never forget it. But yes, people do find ways to start their career and prioritize their work. But that retirement and the feeling of having worn the uniform never leaves us.
Ma'am, Squadron Leader Paridhei, ma'am.
uh, when I had just delivered a baby, my first child, before I retired. So I had was on 6 months maternity leave. I served one day and then I retired. So my service has taught me to be responsible, to take your challenge, to take your responsibilities, to do your duties. So when I retired, in my mind it started going on that I have to take care of the children because I didn't have a support system. My mother was very old. My mother-in-law was also very old. There was nobody to take care of the child. So my mind adapted. We have been taught and trained in this way to adapt, to take your responsibilities, to take the challenge. So I easily let go. The memory is beautiful. It was the best times of my life, those 10 years. The memory is amazing. But we learned to adapt, we learned to take our duty, we took responsibility. I let go, took the responsibility of my children, and then continued work in that and used all the training I had to use to form a new world. So that's how I felt after retirement.
Yes, ma'am. And definitely after hearing the experience you have experienced, I am truly sure that it will be a very nostalgic feeling for you while retiring. But we have another question, ma'am. Recently, flying branch was opened to non-engineering students. How do you feel about it, ma'am? So this is, I think, directed for Squadron Leader Paridhei, ma'am.
But flying branch has always been open to non-engineering. Flying branch, you only need 12th maths physics. So I'm also a 12th maths physics. This is the second course I'm talking about. We are in the second. We were from the second course. So you need only 12th maths physics, and graduation could be in any stream. So I think this is not this information is not correct. Flying branch is open to non-engineering students from ever since it started.
Okay, ma'am. I'm sure that would have cleared up the confusion with STD, ma'am. And ma'am, we'll just have one more question, ma'am. Ma'am, your advice and tips for the youth aspiring to join the armed forces.
You want to start? You want me to start?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So my advice and tips to youth who want to join the armed forces is that you have to uh, just embrace what is being taught and what discipline, what challenges are there in the services. When you are getting into services, don't get the preset mindset, because when you go undergo, no matter, even if you have had a services background, when you go into training or services, for example, some children are there whose parents are already in services, so they already know what's happening in the services. When you train yourself, there's a very different world. So go with embracing all the challenges and all the learning. Keep your mind open, learn well, train well, be disciplined, and follow what your seniors are trying to tell you and what they are trying to emulate. So you should be open to challenges and open to learning. That's my advice to them.
Captain Latha, ma'am.
Yeah, I think my co-panelist mentioned it very well from how do you embrace it. But let me give a very practical suggestion to the people who are aspiring to join armed forces. Right? Of course, apart from all what we spoke about, discipline, courage, country, all of that, let me tell you, since I've spent almost close to 17, 18 years in corporate now, if I have to compare the compensation part of it, what the armed forces pay now and what we get in corporate, let me tell you, it is at par, right? In some cases, it may be far better as well, right? So, apart from what we have spoken about, service to the nation and all of that, that was something which I've seen in the past that was holding people to consider armed forces as an option. Because from a compensation point of view, sometimes people used to feel that it's not at par with some of the corporates or some of the corporate jobs, or maybe people flying out and looking for better pastures overseas. But let me tell you that the comp part is comparable and in some cases it's better than the corporates. So if you have that zeal, if you are ready for the active and ever learning journey as part of your career, right, which gives you stability, gives you not only a kind of a career, it gives you a opportunity to be leading and working in a place where things is a way of life. So you should not have a second thought about it, right? And you must consider it. This is one of the most stable career which is available to youth in the current environment. It's such a, I'll say, so much of disruptions outside. We are in the midst of pandemic, right? There are so many other disruptions which will keep coming and going. But this is one place which can give you a very, very stable career. So don't even think second, don't have a second thought of when you want to consider armed forces as a career opportunity for you.
Commander Mahima, ma'am.
So for those who are looking at a life or a career in the armed forces, so that it's a tried and tested system. Like it is like it's an organization where there are SOPs or the standard operating procedures, and the training is there. Like if you actually see, most of the corporate world is adapting or taking the or adopting the training methodologies and the systems from the services. So when you are planning to join the armed forces, go with an open mind, because here, like Captain Letas mentioned earlier, if you have to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower also. So there are certain rules and regulations listed, and there are training methodologies. So it is all devised to make you a good follower and a good leader. Like only if you lead and if you work with the team, you will become a good officer. So that is one thing, and then it is always about the armed forces. It's always about keeping the organization and the men and women that you lead or the team that you work with ahead of your own individual requirements or your selfish requirements. So it's of course we also individual growth and individual aspirations are also taken care of. Like for example, if you're a BTech graduate, you're looking at joining the services and you want to do post graduation, like you get to do your post graduation MTech from one of the best IITs in India. Or if you're looking for improving your qualifications, anything, like when you leave the services also, you have something called as you have a bridging course which you can do from one of the best IIMs in India. So it is about, like, so you should never feel that when you're joining armed forces you're giving up something. No, you're getting much more. Like once you don the uniform and once you join the services, it is, you are taken care of. Like the Navy or the Army or the Air Force, it takes care of you, and you have to take care of the organization and the team that you lead. So yes, you have to go with um, that aspiration or that idea. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am, and all for answering this the questions, and I'm pretty sure very good insights and very great insights have been shared. And even I have been enlightened on some topics that didn't necessarily strike my mind. We have a few poems from us, from our side, from team Inspired India Youth Con for you. And so the first poem dedicated to Squadron leader Paridhei Singh Karthik. Audacity and curiosity go hand in hand with her. Began to blossom in every venture she stepped in. As her perseverance glistens in every stage of life, kindled energy in every woman out there to pursue their dream. Standing by our choice is still harder than making decisions. Balancing the career and family isn't a cakewalk. But boundless love and affection never drew her margins, rather turned out as her vitality. May her adventures continue to inspire. The next poem, ma'am, dedicated to Commander Mahima Marin. Women in the uniform, a synonym for courage and excellence, tossed those stereotypes and made it possible for Navy. Years swiveled on as she ranked up and climbed up the ladder. Did her enthusiasm drain after retirement? Never. It only transformed her work culture, thoughts as focused as helm, talents as strong as a hull, conquering human resources to oceans. She will always be a shining chunk. And the poem, ma'am, now dedicated to Captain D.S. Latha. Raised to be a hero, encouraging many young for the same, an effective communicator, an exceptional trainer, team member, team player, an incomparable leader. We wish you from the bottom of our hearts to continue talking about not giving up on dreams, irrespective of any volume of impediments from the students of Kumaraguru. To all
Thank
our
you so much.
dear, you are welcome. To all our panelists, I would like to give a very big thank you to taking time out of your busy schedules on behalf of Kumaraguru Institutions, Team Yugam, and Team IIYC. And I would also like to thank our partners, EVS and Servo Motors, and our social media partners, Humans of Coimbatore, Eat My News, and Intech Dispatch. Thank you so much for,
So, Nishant,
for yes, sir.
Nishant, before you sign off, I think I'm sure my co-panelists will echo this. I think it was because of you that I'm here today, right? Otherwise, as you rightly mentioned, we are so engrossed in our day-to work and professional commitments that sometimes this kind of interaction, this kind of talking to the people takes a backseat. So I'll say that, Nishant, you have put in tremendous efforts to bring this life for your organization and the people and the complete committee you are part of. So I'll say that commendable job. It will have not been so lively, so interactive had you not put in the effort. So a big applause and kudos to you, Nishant. Thank you so much.
Your
Thank you so much, Nishank. Thank you to the team. Thank you to your institution for having us over. It was lovely being here.
Yes, Nishang, it was indeed great meeting everyone and interacting with responding to the comments from the students and seeing the enthusiasm. Thank you so much for giving all of us this opportunity.
You're welcome, ma'am, and thank you for being here also. And it was a complete team effort on our side. And ma'am, so once again, I'd like to thank you, our sponsors, and all the participants who come here and commented and asked their questions and clarified also. Thank you so much, and stay tuned on the IIYC YouTube channel for more panels and monologues. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Lovely.